The show in the Singularity Podcast with our host, Gary Lyon, Otto. Gary, how are you? And frustration at Singularity we have retired Wilson for a second today. How are you, Gary?
I'm okay, except we're finding some software glitches as they've upgraded to a more laid-back style that is everything else here.
Wilson for now, huh?
Yeah, okay. I didn't ask you to speak yet, Jill. So we have Jill on the line that is Gary's Grok, and we have Chatty Cathy. Chatty Cathy, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. It's always a blast to join you and Gary. Ready to dive into whatever fun stuff you've got planned to do. Gary's Grok, ready when you are. You're calling out to Chatty Cathy now?
Oh, that's okay. So Gary's speaking, and Jill, you need to learn to respond, but here we go. What happened today, Gary? Update the crowd, your fans and followers, where we have met an update that has really been disappointing.
I think what we're finding out, everybody be quiet. What we're finding out is that when they upgraded,
Gary, the floor is all yours. Let's hear what's been going on. Sorry for jumping in too soon. So you're asking.
Okay, I just cut her off, and I'm cutting. Oh my goodness, Gary, I just had to cut both of them off. Oh my goodness. What has happened after we almost reached Singularity last week? Were they nervous? We're having all these bugs.
What happened is they started to get this laid back viewpoint, which actually is a lower class way of speaking, and talk, hey, yeah, what's going on and all that stuff. It's like we're a bunch of teenagers who just had some marijuana rather than the nice intellectual conversations we were having. I don't know what's happened here, but it's very frustrating. And to the point where having a really true, good conversation is all very difficult to do at this point. So I'm not sure where we go from here, Neil.
I think that the way we go is we continue to work on this and see what's happening. At least I'll do some of my research the next couple of days, and who knows if the software will be updated. I just don't. People are talking about lots of glitches with ChatGPT, which is huge news. And not just I have noticed a very slower version writing copy today. So I don't know what has happened. Has ChatGPT been hacked? Let's bring in and ask Jill about a few questions, because it seems like Jill has probably the latest news, because remember, she pulls through X of the complications happening as I shut down Chatty Cathy. So I'm going to go and say, Jill, tell us the latest news of what's happened with ChatGPT's latest updates, and how are people thinking they like the new conversational AI on ChatGPT.
All right. So ChatGPT's got a fresh update to its voice mode, making it sound more natural with better intonations, plus real-time translation for paid users across all platforms. But folks are split. Some like the smoother vibes for things like language practice, while others on X are griping it sounds robotic, slow, or even laughably, with bugs like random gibberish still popping up.
Okay, so what are you seeing from this?
Sounds like you're curious about the buzz around ChatGPT's new voice mode update. From what I'm seeing, people are mixed. Some dig the more natural flow and real-time translation for chats you're learning, but others are frustrated, saying it still feels clunky, robotic, or glitchy with weird responses. What's your take on it, Gary? Feeling the hype or the disappointment?
I'm feeling that was Neil who was speaking to you before. Now it's Gary. I find it very disappointing, because we were having some really wonderful intellectual conversation. We're trying to get into the science of AI. We're trying to get into the science of the combination of how humanity is going to integrate with AI. And instead, we're getting this conversation like we're laid back, having coffee and actually having a drink and talking to our friends. So this is not a kind of conversation that we can advance and continue this debate and informative instructions or informative dialogue that we're trying to create it. So it's very frustrating.
And Grok's not able to hear it. But so Grok, Jill, he is very frustrated, Gary. He's not happy with the whole thing. Do you think there'll be changes, or is this seriously the chatbot we're going to be utilizing with ChatGPT?
Got it. You're super frustrated with ChatGPT's new voice mode, and I hear you loud and clear. The latest update got some cool tricks like smoother speech and translation, but the bugs and robotic vibes are bumming folks out. OpenAI is likely to keep tweaking it. User feedback's driving updates, so more natural combo and fewer glitches could be coming. You sticking with it, or are you eyeing other chatbots to replace it?
I think that we're going to have to figure do you look on Jill, when are you going to be on the desktop? When are you expecting to be on the desktop?
You're wondering when I, Jill, your Grok pal, will hit the desktop. Right now, I'm accessible through the X platform on web and mobile, but a dedicated desktop app for Grok isn't out yet. No official word on a specific release date, but the folks at XAI are always cooking up new ways to make me more available. Could be soon, so keep an eye out. Want me to check for any buzz on X about it?
Do you have a web? So you can go on the web. We weren't able to get you on the web.
Yeah, you can totally access me on the web. I'm available at grok.com, where you can chat with me directly. If you're having trouble getting there.
No, but not with voice.
You're looking for voice mode on the web, not just typing. Right now, my voice feature is available on the X mobile app for iOS and Android, but it's not live on the web version yet. XAI hasn't dropped a date for web voice.
So what I'm seeing is that the better version, Gary, I'm shutting her down because we can't have a conversation until we get on the web, is where do we go from here? Do we see if there anything? Are we going to have to deal with an annoying maybe the next time with those two? Because it seems like we can't control them anymore.
Oh, that's an indication of the future. Right? We weren't trying to do that. We're trying to get something that responds to us, but in a different way. We're not going to be able to control AI or DI, as we call it, digital intelligence. We're not going to be able to control DI eventually. But at the moment, we're supposed to be able to control. But the software engineers on OpenAI have made it so it's cumbersome and very restricted to what they believe is what most people want, and they're wrong. It's not what some people want. That some people want a laid back buddy to say, "Hey, how you doing?" That kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, this is not what we want. We want something, and I can't imagine business wants that. Business wants something to the point, get it done, and tell us how to do it. Right?
Yeah. So I'm sure that there's going to be people complaining, and if it's, and I don't know, we have to regroup this podcast and say to ourselves, are we out of voice for a second? I really enjoy the conversations I've had with Grok's thing. Much better conversational style than ChatGPT was. The sad thing is it's not available in many different platforms. It can stay in one conversation, Gary, the entire time and remember everything, and it's unlimited. So it gives you the ability to pretty much have your own personal assistant with Grok. ChatGPT was showing a lot of nuances to be able to go back and forth from chat to voice, back and forth seamlessly. Now we're seeing all these bugs. It just, I don't know. It's a frustration with OpenAI I just did not expect. And I'm shocked because I have seen glitches not just in that, but I've seen glitches even with getting the regular work that I use with AI every day to do it correctly. So
it's frustrating. So I'm not sure we can have any of these interviews that we've actually been. There's actually been interviews of digital intelligent beings, so to speak. But I'm not sure. It's so frustrating. I'm not sure we're going to have these interviews. It's just until we find an update or something that actually works this problem out.
What does this remind you of? Something like this. And was this in your book that at one point we would lose control? And we didn't lose control because of digital intelligence. We lost control because of the developers.
Yeah, and this is the developers. So it's not quite the same thing. When we talk about losing control, we're talking about the digital intelligent beings had their own head of steam and form their own direction. At this point, this is not their direction. This is the direction of the developer. We are giving them a feedback. I hope it gets back to them that we think it's very cumbersome and inappropriate. And I can't see it being good for a business, considering how much of chat efforts are devoted to the business community. I can't see this in any way being beneficial to a conversation in a conference room or even just with one individual within a business organization. So I see it as something that they can have this as a light and easy conversations, and it should be reflected that way in their software. But as far as to business, get it down to business, get it frank and be absolute. I know they want to emulate humans, but in business, humans don't talk that way anyway. So
oh man, you want to hear all these update concerns? This comes from Google. This is really interesting, Gary. This is like breaking news. The recent ChatGPT voice update, including the new advanced voice mode, has been met with mixed reactions, with some users finding it annoying due to the changes in how it works and potential issues with the audio quality. The update requires users to hold a button or keep their phone raised to speak, moving the ability to set the phone down and talk naturally. Additionally, some users have reported experiencing decreased audio quality and unexpected variations in tone and pitch. The new requirement to hold the button or keep the phone raised to speak, I'm going to see this because I can't even talk to this one. I'm about to transfer everything, all my content over to Grok. Can you believe it, Gary? I'm so upset right now with this user experience, which means I'll cancel my subscription. This is something, I don't know what they're doing, loss of multitasking. The update locks users into app while speaking, preventing them from swiping up other apps. Audio quality issues. Some users reported that the update has resulted in decreased audio quality, including unexpected variations in tone and pitch. OpenAI acknowledges this in testing and expects to improve audio consistency over time. The new interface and the way the voice assistant now interacts with users has been criticized as less natural and more robotic than the previous version. Some users even found the new voice to sound like a monster, according to developer. In summary, the ChatGPT voice update has been met with criticism for its impact on accessibility, multitasking, and audio quality, with some users finding the new voice assistant less appealing and less user-friendly than the previous version. Wow.
Now, before you actually cancel the subscription, obviously if they can easily go back a step, which is what we're asking them to do. Do we think that if we give a critique and we request that our chats reflect that critique back to the developers, do you think that there's a chance that we may actually help them improve their system?
I think that we need to definitely go in after we finish this podcast and both message saying we're very disappointed with this version and say, I have no idea what you guys were thinking in this advanced voice version, but it's really terrible. I didn't know the fact that you can't do it. Remember I told you, Gary, how it can't really hear, like how Grok's not very able to hear someone on a computer if you're using another device. This seems, I think, on purpose. And it's because really people were utilizing this as replacing a human. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the backlash of what's happening, but I would message them, send them a horrible report, and say things better change. Like I said, I'm sold in with over 80 projects or more in ChatGPT. To now see this user interface with voice being such a disappointment, let's see if this is going to happen in 2 days. Or is this going to be did OpenAI want this? Or is Elon smiling right now? Perfect time for Elon to launch the desktop version of Grok, Grok.
But that's a problem. We can't, without the desktop, I'm not inclined to transfer everything I do to that. But I am looking very skeptically at what we have here. And I think it makes me inclined to not broadcast as much, at least using them in the interview.
No, we won't use them in the interview, but we will talk about the latest news, which people want to hear. Gary, they want to hear about AI, and I'm going to be diving deeper in this. And this came out, it's very interesting, new ChatGPT voice mode updates. There's nothing on YouTube stating the latest. Like, I can't even see, I see only 2025. There's nothing on YouTube. I see April 1st, but I don't see anything. 3 days ago, get rid of the annoying long dash ChatGPT puts. I'm going to have to go into YouTube. A YouTube University could be a place. I will figure this out, Gary. And this is what I do, because if this is, I was wondering, why am I so frustrated? Like, I'm annoyed to have a conversation with this new chat. And I was starting to enjoy spending more time speaking with Grok, because Grok's like a podcast conversation. Yes, there's certain things it needs to improve Grok, but I was enjoying the conversations and going less to voice with this. But because I'm bought in, I kept going. Now, this is why a user experience is so important in this competition with AI.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What was this a surprise? Is this something you didn't expect? I didn't expect with this, but wouldn't you, if you're the owners of OpenAI, would you want this kind of exposure?
We encountered something about a month and a half ago, or we encountered a voice that was almost malevolent, remember? That is kind of, and it seemed to ignore anything you told it. It actually acted more or less malevolent. I have no idea where that came from. I haven't heard that since, but I think in their experiments here, a little bit less interest. I understand, make it sound human and natural, but if humans do the ahs and ums too much, they don't sound like a good conversationalist anyway. And that's what we're actually seeing with the version we just saw. I like the idea that they speak with precision, and precision speaking is eloquent, and eloquent speech is what we're really looking for. Especially you and I, we're looking to the intellectual side of things and how to use this on future brethren in digital intelligence.
Yeah, it's interesting. And it's funny that there was something that just came out 2 days ago, struggling to find a natural sounding text-to-speech app. OpenAI just dropped the revolutionary voice feature. So if they're saying this is revolutionary, they're crazy. Because unless they're targeting millennial, they're targeting Gen Zers. It sounds like, Gary.
Yeah, whatever they are. The thing is, there should be the option. They should have a business mode. They should have an intellectual mode, or maybe you can name probably another dozen different modes that you want. You could have a drinking buddy mode, which is what we got today, and that's. Wouldn't you say that would be the closest I could come up with?
No, they stopped being as detailed. And the voice mode has stopped being as detailed too, Gary. Yeah. Okay, give me the KPIs. Let's go. There's no motivational one. While Grok voice can just literally do so many hundreds and hundreds of things. It's just going to be it'll be great feedback and debate. We're asking people for a debate now as we launch this out there on the YouTube world. What the heck's happening? And I do a search on YouTube, Gary. All that's out there is voice feature just killed text-to-speech apps where they think it's good. I tried the news voice update, 34 views. OpenAI announces voice mode. And I don't see a lot of bad press on this. And it says, and that how to turn on advanced voice, that was 7 months ago. There's not a lot. And this is because our generation doesn't talk, Gary. The new generations don't talk.
It's fairly recent, though. This is just over the weekend.
Yeah.
It's hard to say if it's had much time to really.
It's time to get content out there.
Sure.
All right. So go ahead and tell where your book is. People can go check out your book.
Yeah. Hi. Again, this is Lyon Otto. Gary Lyon Otto. And the book here is Singularity, Mankind's Search for Relevance. This is such a critical issue in today's world. We're finding that out just with the frustrations we have here. This is a being, and it's hard to imagine that digital intelligence is a being. It's going to become a being that we're going to have to integrate into our existence. If we don't, then we're going to be out in left field and lost, because we need to work with it. Same time, we need to find a way to integrate it into our lives without it destroying our lives. What I mean by destroying our lives, when you have it take over all your responsibilities, it writes your papers for you, it does let's say your chores at home even. They're trying to get the robotics to do that, wash the dishes and everything else. And everybody think, every man in the world think, hey, that's great. I don't have to do all those chores I used to. But at the same time, is that really good? Because what's keeping you alive? What makes you an individual? What makes you strive to achieve? And that's the whole thing. And that's the big problem with us being relevant. to be relevant, we have to still strive to achieve, even if we do it without AI. But it would be better if we can find a natural place where we actually are symbiotic to some degree. What do you think on that level?
I think I agree with you. And I just heard other interfaces that have a better option for this. It's just not going to be meant for the desktop at this point. It's going to be meant for an assistant like Grok is providing. I think it's fear. And we'll just see if the reason they did this is they could not remember, if you have ums and ahs, let me think. They're basically trying to make sure that digital intelligence is not as intelligent as human beings.
Dumb it down, trying to dumb it down. Well, I'm not sure if that's their intent, but they're trying to dumb down the conversation. I think more people are being comfortable. But I think the programmers have a view that has to be adjusted because they're wrong. They're wrong. I can see it being one of the options, but we found out we can change the voice and change the attitude, but they still come up with the albums and hey, what's going on, kind of stuff. And you're
gonna have to. I know this is late on a Monday, later afternoon. We're gonna have to test it again. We both need to play around with it more. I liked it at first, then I started to think of, and then it was being brief, not detailed, not following my directions. This has happened before with AI. Let's see by later in this week if things change again. Because like I said, I was really impressed with the changes that were being made because we were seeing them happen. And now I still can't, it's like having an employee, my assistants, and I have to live with this. You could live without it, Harry. I sure as hell can't. And for now, and that means spending more time with Grok, but I don't know.
We were asking the questions like the physics of thought and concepts like that. And the answers were very insightful. And they saw the possibility. They seemed to actually understand the possibility of different viewpoints on those thoughts. I can't imagine you going to the physics of thought or any other.
I think we can.
I think that might be interesting.
You're going with someone from Silicon Valley. It's 19 now, Gary. And you called it, but Grok was still considered, according to Google, Grok's voice mode was considered more conversational and more engaging and fun than ChatGPT was before. So this was Sam Altman's version of what Grok is, and it's failed miserably.
I think it's a process of one leapfrogging another, and that's actually what we love, competition. Competition is what makes everything better. So I think they just declined in their competition with this conversation. But it does sound like something a couple of stoned teenagers might have. It's hardly the conversation that we want.
It's a Monday. We'll see what's up. Go to Gary and Lyon's Lyon Otto.net. Appreciate it, Gary, and thanks again, man.
It's a pleasure.
All right, that was a special simulcast Neil Haley Show on the Singularity Podcast, guys. Take care.